At 82, Stefanie Powers finally tells the truth about William Holden. Stefanie Powers was born on November 2, 1942 in Hollywood, California. She became one of the most famous people on American movies and TV shows. She grew up right in the middle of the movie business, so she got to see all the cool movie magic and fancy Hollywood stuff when she was little. Her family came from Poland and Hungary, but she grew up in sunny Southern California. This gave her special ideas and made her really want to work in movies and shows. When she was a teenager, she was already really good at acting and had that special something that showed she would become a big star someday. She started acting in small parts in movies and TV shows in the late 1950s and early 1960s. This was when Hollywood was changing. From the old way of making movies to trying new things, Stefanie got a deal with 20th Century Fox, which let her practice acting and be in movies that helped her get better and feel more sure of herself as an actress. She was in movies like Experiment in Terror in 1962 and McClintock in 1963 with really famous actors like John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. These early jobs showed that she could act in different kinds of movies and proved she could work well with big movie stars. Even though she was in movies, it was TV shows that made her really famous and brought her into millions of homes all across America. Powers became someone everyone knew because of her. Parts in popular TV shows from the 1960s and 1970s. One big show was The Girl from UNCLE, where she played April Dancer, a cool spy who was charming and funny. Everyone loved her right away. This part showed she could do serious acting, action scenes, and funny stuff all at the same time. This skill helped her a lot in her whole career, but her most famous role came in 1979 with the hit TV show Heart to Heart, where she acted with Robert Wagner. She played Jennifer Hart, a fancy and adventurous wife married to a rich businessman. Stefanie Powers was glamorous, smart, and elegant on the show. She and Wagner worked so well together that they became one of TV's most loved couples. Heart to Heart was on TV for 5 great seasons, and they made several reunion movies later. This made Powers a permanent part of pop culture history. Fans loved watching her, not just because she helped solve mysteries on the show, but because she was a new kind of female character who was just as smart, brave, and important as her husband. Besides her acting job, Stefanie Powers really cared about helping people and doing good things for the world. One of the most important parts of her personal life was her relationship with actor William Holden. They both really loved taking care of wild animals and nature. After Holden died in 1981, she decided to keep doing the work he cared about by starting and running the William Holden Wildlife Foundation in Kenya. This organization became the thing she cared most about in life. It let her use her fame to do important work helping animals and the environment. She spent lots and lots of time teaching young people why it's important to save animals that might disappear forever and protect the places where animals live. This showed that what she did mattered way beyond just being on TV and in movies. She also worked to help people learn about staying healthy, especially after she had her own health problems. She was very brave when she found out she had cancer. She had surgery and treatment, but she stayed strong and graceful, just like she always had been. Instead of hiding from people, she used what happened to her to help other people feel better, and to tell everyone how important it is to find sickness early and support medical research. Over the years, Stefanie Powers has been loved and respected by many people, not just for her acting, but also for being strong, generous, and caring about things that are bigger than just herself. She wrote a book about her life called One from the Heart in 2010. In the book, she talks honestly about her amazing career, her relationships, and what she learned in life. The book lets readers see into her personal story and shows how brave she was when facing hard times and how she always tried to live honestly. Stefanie Powers' personal life has had both famous relationships and deep commitments to causes that were really important to her. Her first big marriage was to actor Gary Lockwood. They were married from 1966 to 1972. Lockwood was famous for being in 2001: A Space Odyssey. They shared a time when she was young and living in Hollywood. Even though their marriage ended in divorce, It was an important part of Powers growing up and learning about being partners with someone in the crazy entertainment world. This experience helped shape how she thought about relationships and gave her ideas that would affect her later life and the good work she did for others. After her divorce from Lockwood, Powers started a very important and life-changing relationship with actor William Holden. He was a really famous person in Hollywood whose career lasted for decades. He was in legendary movies like Sunset, Boulevard, and Stalag 17. Their relationship started shortly after her divorce and lasted until just before Holden died in 1981. Powers has talked about this connection as being really meaningful. She called Holden her soulmate, which shows how deep their emotional and spiritual connection was. Beyond just the personal part, their relationship grew into a shared love for taking care of wild animals. This cause would come to define much of Powers's life and what she would be remembered for. Together, they worked to make people aware of animals that might disappear forever and protecting the environment. They used Holden's fame and Powers' hard work to create programs that really helped. Holden's death in 1981 was a huge moment in Powers's life. It marked not just the end of a personal relationship, but also the beginning of a major mission to help others. The next year, she started the William Holden Wildlife Foundation. This was a lasting way to remember him, and a way for her to keep working to protect wildlife. Under her leadership, the foundation tried to support wildlife projects all over the world and make sure endangered animals stayed safe. Powers also became a director at the Mount Kenya Game Ranch and Wildlife Conservancy in Nanyuki, Kenya. There, she watched over efforts to save natural homes for animals and support animal welfare. Her work wasn't just limited to Africa. In the United States, she developed strong connections with the Cincinnati Zoo and the Atlanta Zoo. She gave her time, knowledge, and public fame to help conservation programs. Powers has traveled all over the world as a speaker, giving talks, lectures, and presentations to teach people about why wildlife preservation is important, and to inspire everyone to work together for environmental causes. Her work shows a lifelong commitment that goes way beyond just celebrity involvement. It demonstrates hands-on dedication, smart leadership, and a heartfelt passion for the planet and its creatures. In her personal life, Powers found love again later in life. On April 1, 1993, she married French aristocrat Patrick de Laszlo, who was born May 7, 1951 in Versailles, France. Their marriage connected Powers to fancy European society and gave her personal life a cross-cultural dimension. It lasted until 1999. After that divorce, she started another meaningful relationship with Tom Carroll, an accountant. She was with him for almost 15 years. Their partnership lasted until Carroll died in August 2014. This time represented a period of stability and personal happiness for Powers. It gave her both emotional support and shared experiences away from the public eye. Even in her personal relationships, Powers' life shows a balance of love, dedication, and strength. It blends the complicated parts of Hollywood life with a deep commitment to helping people and environmental causes. Through these experiences, her marriages, relationships, and charitable work, Stefanie Powers emerges not only as a celebrated actress, but as a woman whose personal life and professional legacy are deeply connected with compassion, dedication, and a lifelong pursuit of making a meaningful impact, particularly in the area of wildlife conservation. At 82, Stefanie Powers, the elegant and timeless actress best known for her famous role in Heart to Heart, has finally opened up about one of the most defining relationships of her life, her romance with the legendary actor William Holden. Powers, who has always been honest yet careful about her private life, spoke with a rare openness and honesty, revealing the deep impact Holden had on her both personally and professionally. "He was my soulmate in every way," Powers said, her voice filled with memories from long ago. It wasn't just a romance. It was a connection that felt eternal, something that words can barely capture. Her thoughts give us a deeply personal look into a love that stayed mostly private for decades, even though both of them were famous Hollywood people whose lives were always being watched by others. Powers first met Holden in the early 1970s, shortly after her divorce from actor Gary Lockwood. "I was going through a time of big changes in my life," she remembered, "and then William came along completely unexpected, and it changed everything." Their relationship grew quickly, not in the bright Hollywood lights or through newspaper headlines, but in quiet, meaningful moments. "We had a language between us that no one else understood," she said. "It was a friendship that was more than the usual celebrity romance. It was built on respect, understanding, and a shared love for the world around them." Powers often talks about Holden not just as a boyfriend, but as a teacher and inspiration. He encouraged her to follow her passions beyond acting, including her lifelong interest in wildlife conservation, an area where they would later make a lasting impact together. Their relationship, however, wasn't always easy. Hollywood in the 1970s was a complicated place, and public attention was constant. "We learned to protect our love, to keep it sacred," Powers said. "It wasn't always easy. There were pressures, misunderstandings, and the weight of expectations. But through it all, we had each other." Powers stressed that Holden's presence in her life changed everything. "He taught me patience, courage, and how to embrace life fully, even when it was unpredictable." Their connection went far beyond just romantic feelings. It was deeply rooted in shared values and respect for each other. Powers revealed that their love gave her a deep sense of stability during a difficult period in her career, a grounding force in the middle of the chaos of the entertainment industry. After Holden's tragic death in 1981, Powers had to learn how to live in the world without him, a loss she described as immeasurable. Yet even in her sadness she found purpose. By the following year she started the William Holden Wildlife Foundation, honoring his memory and their shared passion for wildlife preservation. "I wanted to create something lasting, something that reflected what we cared about most," Powers said. "It was a way of keeping his spirit alive while making a real difference in the world." The foundation, which has supported countless conservation projects, stands as proof of their lasting bond, reflecting a love story that went beyond life itself. Looking back on their relationship with the wisdom of age, Powers admits that there were lessons she learned that continue to shape her life today. "Love isn't just about passion or excitement. It's about depth, commitment, and the courage to be fully seen," she thought. "William and I shared that kind of love, the kind that doesn't fade, even decades later." Now at 82, Powers speaks with the wisdom and grace of someone who has truly experienced a once-in-a-lifetime connection. "I never regretted a moment with him," she said. "He was my heart, my guide, and my soulmate. And even now I feel his presence in the work I do, the choices I make, and the love I continue to carry for the world." For fans and admirers, Stefanie Powers' honest revelations offer more than just a look into Hollywood romance. They provide a deep thinking about love, legacy, and the lasting bonds that define a lifetime. Her story with William Holden reminds us that some connections are not just brief moments. They are eternal, living on in memory, action, and the quiet spaces of our hearts. In November 2008, Stefanie Powers, the beloved actress best known for her famous role on Heart to Heart, got life-changing news. She was told she had alveolar cell carcinoma, a pretty rare and serious form of lung cancer. This diagnosis was a huge moment in her life, making her face both the physical challenges of a serious illness and the emotional weight that comes with thinking about death. Powers, who had smoked for about 20 years earlier in her life, showed the unfortunate connection between long-term smoking and getting certain types of lung cancer. Even though her diagnosis proved that even with a careful lifestyle later on, the effects of smoking could stay around for decades. For an actress whose career lasted over 50 years, this news was especially shocking as it forced her to deal not only with her health, but also with who she was, her strength, and the uncertainty of her future. Just a few months after getting this diagnosis, Powers had a major surgical procedure on January 29, 2009, to remove a part of her right lung. The surgery, both physically hard and emotionally tough, was a big step in her fight against the disease. Lung surgery this serious involves careful precision as surgeons must carefully cut out the cancerous tissue while keeping as much of the lung's ability to work as possible. For Powers, this operation was not only a medical treatment, but also proof of her determination to survive and continue her life with energy even when facing a scary health crisis. The recovery time after such surgery is often long and challenging, involving weeks of rest, careful watching, and slowly rebuilding lung capacity and overall strength. Powers approached this time with her typical resilience and grace, drawing on the inner strength that had defined both her personal life and professional career for decades. Adding to the deep emotional stress of this time was a very personal loss. Her mother died in the very same month as her surgery. Powers' mother passed away at the amazing age of 96 in Los Angeles because of pneumonia. This event layered sadness on top of an already stressful time. Having to experience a major medical procedure while mourning the loss of a parent created a uniquely difficult emotional situation for Powers to handle. Her mother had lived a long and full life, and losing such an important person undoubtedly brought a mixture of sadness and thinking, reminding Powers of how fragile life is and the importance of treasuring loved ones. This combination of battling a life-threatening illness while saying goodbye to her mother showed Powers' emotional strength as she managed to endure intense physical recovery alongside deep personal grief.